Hey everybody, before we get into the show, we want to tell you about Jetracks. That's Jetracks, where you can find your sound. Search tracks and beats from today's hottest producers and sell your tracks and beats while making limitless connections and collaborate with songwriters and artists and producers from all around the world. When you search Jetracks and find a track you want to purchase, type in promo code BMBRS. That's promo code BMBRS. Do this at checkout and you will receive a free basic licensed track. It's an awesome deal. I myself, as a songwriter, am in love with this company. I love what it offers. Y'all check out Jetracks.com. That's Jetracks.com. Type in promo code BMBRS and receive that free basic licensed track today. Now it's time for the show. Mr. McElroy, how are we doing, my brother?
What is up, my friend? Feeling good, feeling positive. Always a pleasure to be back in this room.
Absolutely, man. I think you had texted me today and said it's going to be great getting that mic therapy.
It is mic therapy, and now, thanks to you, it's literally, we're in a fucking therapist room. We got the Himalayan salt lamp. We got the TV fireplace. It smells like fall in here. I literally, dude, I want to open up to you about my life right now.
Yeah, no, please do. Have a seat on the couch and lay down. Tell me where it hurts. Y'all. Y'all, it is so good to be back, though, and thank you all again for downloading and streaming these episodes, man. It really means the world. Guys, we have a killer show.
Yes.
Killer show today. We have a BombCast first, okay? We have a BombCast first because we have two guests today. That's right, two guests.
Count them.
Give me two per. I need two per. And we're excited to have these guys here. And honestly, I think all of our songwriters, artists, producers, or just music creators in general that listen to our show, guys, you're going to love this episode because we're about to learn about this fucking awesome new company called Jetracks. Now, before we get into it, though, I'm going to toss it over to Kev. Kev's going to go over some news for you, some Bombers news. I will say not this weekend, but next week we have a really exciting event coming up. So Kev's going to dive into that and some more stuff. So Kev, what do we got, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys as always for tuning in. It's great to be with you guys again. And yes, as Steve said, man, I'm really excited for our guest today. I fucking love entrepreneurship, and like when a new business idea comes across, I love that, man. It just makes me feel good on the inside, man. So I'm really excited to get to talk to these guys. But yes, to the minutes, to the news, lots of things have been going down. So last time we spoke, we had talked about doing the 6-1 Vibe deal with Music City Boxing. Well, they have been cool enough to kind of give me more opportunities with them to design some more merchandise. So I have been busy working on some new hoodie designs for them, a hoodie and a crew neck that's coming out in the next couple of weeks. But through that partnership with them, doing some merchandise on the side, all of the whole Bombers lineup is hanging up in the Music City Boxing gym. So you'll see the merch for them that I've designed, but then you'll see the Bombers merch there too. And so that's been a huge opportunity for us because a lot of the boxers, the way Music City Boxing works is like, it's not like a title boxing where it's like strictly a group fitness facility. They have actual pro fighters that fight out of there. Most notably, the super middleweight champ, Caleb Sweethands, Caleb Plant, who goes by Sweet Hands. He had a big fight at Bridgestone. Maybe any of you Nashville listeners might have seen that. Anyway, he fights out of that gym. So the cool thing about having our merch up there is that a lot of these pro fighters or these amateurs that are about to make their pro debut see all our stuff, and a big source of income for fighters, just like bands or anyone else, is to have merch. So when they start on the lower level of the pro circuit, like still on pay-per-view, but not quite ESPN, a part of the way that they, fund that fight is through merchandise. So thankfully, I had two fighters that are going to be on the same card November 7th in Chattanooga reach out and wanted me to design some, I guess they're logos, but they were basically more shirt designs that they could put on their custom-made trunks and jackets like they come out with. You guys know all the dope pageantry that comes with fighting. So they wanted shirts made, and then they also wanted stuff that could go like on their trunks and on their jackets. So got to work on that, and It came out really cool, man. One was for Rydell Mays, who goes by the nickname Super. So Rydell Super Mays Jr. He's 6-0, about to be 7-0 after this fight in Chattanooga. He's insane, man. He was, I think he was at the heavyweight, but now he's trying to cut a weight class and go down a little bit. So I'm not sure what he's fighting at for this one, but regardless of that, it was really cool to kind of meet him in person and hear like how excited he is, because he is right at that next level, man. Yeah. If he gets 2-3 more wins under his belt, he's going to move into that next rank and be on ESPN and get those bigger arena fights. So it's really cool timing to be a part of this. So we did a trade, and in exchange for me designing the logo / shirt design for him, we got to be Bombers. Our logo got to be featured on his trunks. And so he sent a picture of that a couple weeks ago, and we are front and center on the front of these trunks. It says Super across the belt and then Bombers right below it, which is fucking awesome.
You can't miss it.
You can't miss it. And it looks so rad on these trunks, man. And it's one of those things where you guys know that one thing that's important to Steve and I is just sharing like the wins along this journey. And this is something that I want to note here, because we didn't set out to do this, right? We weren't like, oh man, we got to target boxers and like get in the fight game and do that thing. But yet here we are, like designing merch for them. And getting, in exchange, getting some advertisement on the trunks, which is super cool. And then we're, so we're on the trunks, and then we're on the back of Rydell's shirts that he had made too, like on the as part of like the sponsorship collage. You guys have seen it when people run like 5Ks and stuff. They got all the sponsors on the back of it. Same kind of setup there. So
and the shirts will be available for purchase at the fight.
At the fight, yeah.
Yeah, at the fight, yeah.
Yeah, and if you follow, if you want to follow him, it's at Super Mays Jr. Mayes is how you spell Mays. If you want to give him a follow, he's a super cool dude, super nice. I'm really excited for him. So we did that, and then another fighter on that card goes by KJ. His name's Kerry James, nicknamed King James. This is his first professional fight debut, which is really exciting for him too. And this kid is awesome, dude. We have actually developed like more of a friendship outside of this. We've had a lot of like long phone conversations, which has been cool. This guy's tenacity and fight is just inspiring, man. And I think that's what's cool about being able to network with these guys, is like they're high achievers in that realm, man. Boxing is insane. So, I know our guests in here tonight, man, are, get fired up around that type of mentality too. So I just wanted to mention that, because it's cool to be around that. I like to be in the synergy of that. So KJ has been kicking ass. He's putting out cool promo videos, and he wanted a cool like street art kind of hand drawn thing. Whereas Rydell's was more of like a very traditional like sports type of logo with really clean lines and like some gradient stuff, which is cool. I enjoy doing that, but like to actually get to sit down and do like some hand-drawn illustration for KJ was super cool. So we did like graffiti letters on the left and right of it, like his initials K and J, and then like this big like hand-drawn cobra with like some cool shading in it with like a crown on it. And he showed me the trunks and the jacket with that, and it looks super fucking rad, man. So, again, just honored to be a part of these guys' journey, and honored that, by default we get to bring Bombers into there, because their work ethic and what they're trying to accomplish is right in line with our mission. I mean,
Absolutely.
I don't know of people that are bombing their boundaries much more than fucking people that are giving it up to be pro boxers. It's pretty crazy.
No,
I mean, they're right in
the work ethic it takes to be. Oh, geez.
Yeah, it's insane, man. So, Steve and I are going to be present at that fight. We got ringside seats to that. It's at the Jordan, I forgot the name of the arena, but
the name of the arena.
Yeah, it's like a smaller arena in Chattanooga. So, we're going to go down there, stay the night, sit ringside and cheer these guys on, man. So we'll be, we'll be taking stories the whole night and taking pictures. So, depending on when you guys are listening to that, that's November 7th. And we are, October 29th tonight? Yeah. So, stay tuned for that.
We'll be taking them to the fight with us, man.
We'll be taking them to the fight with you.
Follow us on Instagram, man. You'll see everything, man. And I'm really excited. I've watched boxing on TV. I've been a big fan of fighting culture for a while, but I've never actually physically gone to a fight. So I'm super stoked. I know you're super stoked. I don't even know what to do with my hands when I'm there. Like I'm just gonna be just enthralled the whole entire ride.
No, dude, same here, man. And I told them, I told that to these guys over the phone. I was like, this is so crazy, man. Like, I've never been to a boxing match. I've never even taken like a boxing class. And now here we are, like right in the middle of it, being, key contributors to their journey. So I don't know, super cool, man. And one of those things that just came about organically. So the point of that is to inform you, but it's also to kind of inspire you and let you know, that just as you keep moving forward, man, anything can pop up, and just be open to those opportunities, because you never know, what direction it may take.
Something that I'm really excited about is this, I call it the Min-Sin Wash. Can we go into the Min-Sin?
The Min-Sin, yeah. So we've been putting a lot of thought into what we want to roll out for Agenda in February, which you guys are well aware of. And we got a lot of the colorways are pretty much the same. We got a lot of black, we got a lot of white. We have the icon shirt is like the most colorful one we have. And so a great friend of ours, Chainsaw Betty, she used to work at this American store here in Nashville, which you may or may not know used to be owned by Yellow Wolf, who's a rapper that's fairly well known. Anyway, she was the barbershop manager there, and it's where I went to get my haircut. They have since shut down due to COVID, and unfortunately they're probably not coming back. So Ashley and her partner have started a custom screen print and tie-dye. It's a bunch of different dyes, tie-dye, ice dye, mineral washes and stuff like that, called Press or Dye, dye spelled D-Y-E. Super cool stuff, man. In my opinion, not just being biased, some of the best like custom dye stuff out there on the market. And so her and I have just been talking a lot. We've always wanted to work with each other, and the idea kind of came up to, we want to put that large skull that's on the back of that collaboration piece that we did with Mark McLaughlin, which a lot of you guys have seen. We want to put that on the front of a crew neck, but instead of just doing like a standard, black or gray crew neck with that big skull on the front, we wanted to step it up and do like a mineral or acid wash. And so I reached out to Ashley over at Press or Dye, and she was stoked about the idea of a collaboration. So that has opened up the door to not only a mineral wash with the big skull on the front of the hoodie, but possibly some new designs that incorporate traditional tie dye or some ice dye. The stuff she does is unbelievable. So follow Press or Dye, D-Y-E, on Instagram, and check out her stuff, man. It's unbelievable. She's a great graphic designer, great custom dye, and we're going to do a kick-ass collaboration with her. And this is super fucking cool, because now we have like a really, really custom piece to take to Agenda with us. Not that we didn't feel ready before. We were going to have great stuff, but now this kind of takes it up another level. So we're really hoping that we can continue to join forces with them, and who knows, man? Maybe we even go in on a screen print shop together. I don't know, whatever. I'm not mad at that. The world is ours.
The world is ours.
That's just thinking forward, man. Putting it out to the universe. That would be badass.
Yes, sir.
So, anyway, super cool and super thankful for them. So, be watching for that.
Absolutely, man. The Min-Sin. I think that's what we got to call it, the Min-Sin, right? No, we'll probably come up with something better.
Man. I'm into it.
All right, y'all, that's going to do it for the news. Thank you, Mr. McElroy. Okay, we are going to get into our very special guest here, our two-purr. Give me two purrs. Look, two Nashville songwriter producers had a dream of connecting artists, songwriters, producers, track builders from all around the world. That dream came to life with Jetracks. Their passion is to see talented musicians bring their sounds to life and share them with the world. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure to welcome the co-founders of Jetracks, Mr. Joey Ebach and Mr. Ryland Fisher. What's up, y'all?
What's up?
What's going on?
Good to see, man. Ryland, a past guest of the show. It's good to have you back. Joey, newcomer, man.
Yeah,
it's our pleasure to have you, brother.
Thank you.
Now, look, I've worked with you guys musically, and I gotta say, you're amazing music creators. And real quick before we get into the product, I know you guys personally, and I know you guys have been friends for a really long time. So before we get into the company or the business, I want to talk about, starting a business with a really close friend. It can be an exciting thing. It can also be a really scary thing. I mean, you're sitting across two people that are in those shoes right now. And I would ask, was it a little scary, like going into business with each other, or how was the feel on that?
Co-writing teaches you a lot. And we had spent so much time co-writing together that I think we learned how we work together. And sometimes we get on each other's nerves and stuff, I'll throw out lines, or I'll want to push a line and he hates it, or, I hate his line and I'm trying to figure out a way to communicate that to him or whatever. But we consistently produced stuff that we considered great, and I think after you do that for a while, you start to learn. I'm starting to know that I work with this person really well, and learning, that he's strong in areas that I'm weak, and I'm strong in areas that he's weak, but learning how to fit those together. Yeah. And I think by the time we came to the decision to do this company, I don't think, personally, I didn't have any fear about it. I was pretty confident about it. I run everything by my wife. She's like my wisdom tool. But she, I ran it by her, and she's like, heck yes, you should get Ryland in there, So, and so it was a no-brainer for me, and I think a lot of that just came from us working together so much. I mean, we co-wrote every week, sometimes twice a week for a year and a half, probably.
Yeah, no, I think you hit on, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's like co-writing teaches you all these lessons that have nothing to do with music. You know what I mean? Right. And we've had this company, it's been September maybe, early September, late August, so just a few months. And since then, it's like kind of, when you brought your idea to me to begin with, this was something that, and we'll get into the nitty gritty of what this is, but a multi-vendor marketplace was something I had brought something to Joey a couple years ago, but it was way too much work for one person to take on, is what I found out as I started to go down, because me and Joey were going to work together in some capacity back then, but it was just a project that I ended up dropping. And then Joey on his side of things over the last couple of years started putting together a version of what Jetracks has now become on his own. And then, but then we were like, hey, how cool would it be to
take it to the next level
and get, and get an unlimited amount of producers involved and connect them with an unlimited amount of, songwriters and music creators. But what I've learned through the last few months here is absolutely all the lessons that I learned co-writing with Joey, and also not co-writing with Joey, right? It's like, okay, how many relationships did I not have this counterbalance, or on either side? And I think we found that in business too.
Totally.
So it's like, as much as I think it's become like kind of like a marriage in a way, where it's like a marriage that it has a strong foundation at this point, where it's like we could pretty much tell each other whatever we're thinking, and it's like, we don't take it personally anymore. Totally. Now it's just like, okay, we want what's either best for the song, or in this case, what's best for the business.
Yeah.
Well, I think y'all nailed on something too. I think if you can do music, Kevin and I started out doing music together, and I think whether it's co-writing or just collaborating in music or any art form, there's a lot of emotion and soul that goes through that. There's a lot of vulnerability. There's a lot of trust that goes through that. So I totally understand what you're saying. Like, having that kind of base of co-writing together, it makes maybe a business decision going in together a lot easier, because you've built that kind of trust together, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. And I got to tell you, man, because we have to explain what Jetracks is. And I went to you guys' website today, I told Ryland and Joey both, man. I was fooling around on it today. I was listening to the tracks. Here I am, like I'm listening to a track for 30 seconds. I'm already writing songs to it. So let's get into this, guys. Not only am I 100% impressed with like just the presentation of the website, but what it actually has to offer music creators from all around the world. So in your own words, can you explain to us what is Jetracks and what does it offer its clients?
Well, Jetracks is a multi-vendor music marketplace where songwriters and artists can find instrumental tracks to use for writing songs to that they can pitch if they want, or they can release them. And for producers, they can add their tracks to the site and basically lease their beats. And so they can, we have 4 different licenses. And so songwriters and artists will license those tracks, and then they'll be able to use them, they'll be able to use them in certain ways. For instance, pitching songs, or releasing on Spotify, or track customization, that sort of thing. And so, so it connects the producers and the artists and the songwriters together, because a lot of producers have extra tracks, and a lot of songwriters and artists are looking for tracks. And so we connect those 2 people in Jetracks and give them a way to get more tracks for their writing and releasing, basically.
And you know what? We've talked about this before. These 4 licenses that we offer, they weren't just created on a whim. We have like iterated over these things like time after time after time, and
long time.
Yeah, and I think we're finally at a place where I think what's cool about Jetracks is we offer a license for everybody. So even outside of a multi-vendor marketplace, just if we just look at music globally as a whole, how many artists or songwriters or anybody within that world, when they're looking for this kind of service, like when they need a track, like a fully produced thing that sounds professional, that's going to work in any environment, how much money is wasted, right? It's like you're not going to get a better deal from a producer on the street, because maybe you're not at that level yet. Basically everybody's going to be charged the same price, where we offer an environment where, depending on what level you're at, you're going to want to purchase a different kind of license, so we have a license that is predominantly for songwriters pitching songs, but we also have 2 or 3 licenses that are strictly geared towards artists, and we have this 4th license, which is geared towards somebody that wants some more exclusivity, with their track, and that want to pursue kind of like outside the box opportunities that you would normally get. So I think, what's cool is, like, depending on where you're at in your musical journey, we have something for you, you know, and it's not the same price across the board, where you spend like thousands of dollars just for a song.
And I'll add, that's kind of how it came about in the first place. Is I was producing demos for all these songwriters, and they would pay me hundreds of dollars to produce a song. And I feel like a lot of the headway that I've made in songwriting has come from the fact that I have tracks for about 65% of my songs that I write. There's definitely the talent aspect, but I also think the songwriting has sort of a numbers game sort of thing in it. Oh, yeah. And I think that's why we write so many songs. And, I was thinking to myself, these writers who are coming to me, they have to pick maybe 1 or 2 songs a month that they're going to demo, because it's, they're going to pay $1,000, $1,500 to have those done. Yeah. You can't do more than that, And I'm like, if I was in their shoes and I had to just pick like 2 songs to do this month, would go out of my mind because I don't know what the best thing I have is,
Right.
But if you, but in my case, I have tracks for a bunch of stuff because I just track it and I throw it out in the world, and then I'm like, hopefully somebody likes this, And but at some point, I was like, I have all these tracks laying around, and I have these songwriters who need tracks, and they can write songs to the tracks. So, why don't I make them available for cheaper? And so, I mean, if you just do the math, it's like, so you can do two tracks a month custom, and they might or might not come out the way you want them to for $1,000, $1,500, or you can do 10 tracks, through Jetracks, and, you have 10 demos that you can be pitching. And so, it was kind of a no-brainer. And then as soon as we put it out there, again, like Ryland said, I started this just on my own tracks at first, and they were received great, and people were writing songs to them. They were getting placements and all this kind of stuff, getting them taken by publishers, and I was like, this is amazing, and it was cool to hear the stories too. At first it was just like a business venture, but then I started hearing stories of people making headway with it, and that changes things for you because you're like, this is actually really helping people, to get ahead.
Man, I'm glad you bring that up, because when you were talking, I was thinking like, are these tracks like battle tested, or are they kind of upcycled, or were they like laying around from like the back catalog, or have they actually been put in front of people and people are like, yeah, I like that track, and then people can take it? That's like the first part of the question. And the second part of the question, do you run into like too much reusage of a particular track that's really working well for a lot of people? Like, so if 5, 6, 10 people have used the same track to pitch, is there any mechanism in place that like puts a cap on how many times a particular track can be used?
We don't have a mechanism. We've never run into the issue. And honestly, I don't foresee us doing it, because here's the thing. At the end of the day, especially for songwriters, what the publishers care about ultimately is the song. If Billy Currington if you get a cut with Billy Currington, he's not going to use the track that you have with it. He wants your song. He's going to have his producer produce it. So what the tracks do is present your song, give your song the best possible shot, basically.
Perfect.
And so it presents it in a great way, and it catches the publishers right off the bat, because they're like, you have a track, and it sounds good and it sounds fresh, and so it gives that extra attractiveness to publishers, so that they'll take the time to really listen to the song. The song is what you want them to listen to. And, the producers on Jetracks don't take a co-writer share. So it's about your song, but it's about presenting your song in the best way.
Very cool, man.
If you
awesome.
think about it, it's like, okay, how many chord progressions do we have in the world? I think we've all seen those videos where it's like they just go through that medley of like G, D, E minor, C for like 25 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, chord progression was never a song, and it's like Jetracks isn't providing songs to anybody. What we're providing, like Joey said, it's like the framework for you to put your stamp and shine it in the best possible light. Now it's on you, the songwriter, to write the very best song. But and we're gonna help you, and producers from all over the world. It's like, we got we're a few months old now, but we're lucky to have a lot of talented producers, both inside of Nashville and outside in different genres. I think we got recently we got some more hip hop stuff. We're really, and I'm sure we'll get into this later, but Jetracks versus maybe some of the other providers out there, we're about like diversity, and like one of our main focuses when we were building out the site, me and Joey killed ourselves for like 2 months, man.
Dude, I bet.
Killed ourselves.
When you were describing it, I was like, fuck, dude, the coding on this must be ridiculous.
Dude.
All
so
this
fuckery.
guy, man. All this guy.
But it's like, so, and that's kind of the, we were talking about the co-writing of this business, right? Is I lean one way and Joey leans the other way, and it's like all the pretty stuff that you see when you go to that site, it's like, that's Joey's eye right there. And it's like, I'm more on the back end creating something functional. That's what I do during the day, is like I'm a software engineer. So I do software, and
it's a fucking huge value add in a business partner.
But it was cool because like in the very beginning, like me and Joey, he brought the idea, and then we started having these preliminary conversations, and like very quickly, like we realized this is going to be a pain in the ass because all these different things are going to need to be manual. And somehow, by the grace of God, we've been able to create an automated system where like where you have, you know, any producer on the street can go and sign up, and they'll immediately get approved. Right, their tracks, they're going to go through a review process that we have in place, but anybody can go and sign up and showcase their talent. We'll take the listen, and that stuff can be available globally. You know, and then to your point earlier, you know, when you were asking Joey that question, that was in a couple parts. You know, I think that second part, you know, I think we've taken something that used to be kind of localized to a music center, and now we've made it global. Yeah. And it's like you have people from all over the world creating music, and you have people from all over the world writing to this music. It's a chord progression. I like to call it like a chord progression on steroids. Yeah. You know? Oh yeah. And everybody's going to write a different song to that. And if you get that, and we'll get into licensing later, but that you know, that higher end license that gives you that exclusivity, then you're going to have less people. You know, there's only going to be whoever buys that is going to be the last one that has that track. But at the same time, those other licenses, it's like they're going to people all over the world. You know, so yeah, I think I think it would be pretty unlikely for, you know, people to write the same song to the same track.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, dude. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Steve had the website pulled up on his phone. It looks fucking beautiful, man.
Yeah, it's
really clean, dude.
It's killer, man. Amazing presentation. Good work, y'all.
Thank you.
Good work.
Thank you. Yeah.
You know, it's great for our listeners too, because you know, I think you tapped into something too. These are creators and collaborators from all around the world that are a part of Jetracks. A lot of our listeners are kind of spread out through the United States and even different countries who don't live in music hubs. But this is kind of a cool access and a chance for them to create and collaborate and connect with people who are in Nashville or LA, big music hubs, and get to work with some of the hottest producers in town. You know, it's a great gift, y'all.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, it really is amazing, man. Maybe we're getting into our. Can I ask a pricing question?
Absolutely.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was like later in there. I didn't want to jump the gun on it if it was. So like, is it set up for like maybe a lower like subscription based platform for people that like can't pay the higher licensing fees? So like, let's say I pay $30 a month, I get access to maybe the lowest tier of the licensing options. Is there anything like that, or so like how are you guys breaking up the pricing?
It's actually on a track by track basis.
Cool.
You pay the license. It's kind of like, you know, pricing wise, I would compare it to something like the pricing model. I would compare it to something like Shutterstock or something like that.
Nice. Okay.
Where what you're purchasing is it's on a track by track basis, and the producer sets those prices. Mm-hmm. And basically, what you're paying for is rights. You're paying for like usage limits.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah, the honey.
Yeah. Yeah, so those 4 licenses, they kind of increment in price, but you know, it's it's just based on whatever it is that you're looking for and where you kind of where you're at in your journey, you know.
Yeah, right on, man. That's awesome. Cuz I'm thinking you know, so like Adobe within the last few years has switched over to a subscription base, and like if you're using like Adobe Illustrator and like looking for fonts, all of these graphic designers from all around the world can upload their fonts, and as part of the subscription fee that millions of people pay, you know, if however many times their fonts are used, you know, that particular designer gets a little cut of that. So, and I was like fascinated by that model, right. And then so now it's working its way over into like your type of platform. I think it's just like it's a super cool like way to spread out and go global, even though that's not exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that sounds a lot like what Splice is doing. You know, in the music world with us, we kind of have a split and we try to be as competitive as possible with our pricing just to support you know, producers, and but basically we have a split between the producer and ourselves, and it's just on a sale by sale basis. Today we don't have a subscription model in place. That might be something that
We've talked about it.
We've talked about
The
different
thing is,
ways of doing that.
Yeah, the thing is, like, we're both producers ourselves, so we know the work that goes into creating a track. I mean, it's very time consuming.
Yeah.
And so being on both ends, like, we're the writers and we're producers, we don't want to undercut people. We don't want to undercut our producers and devalue their work, you know? And I feel like on a subscription, we'd be getting close to that, to where if we're doing like a pool of money and it's just being dispersed out, I don't want somebody to end up with somebody's using their track for $10 or $15, you know, and they're only ending up with $10 or $15 for their track that they spent all this time working on, you know. And so that's why we let the producers decide the price. We do give suggested prices. I'll just name those off. Our basic, which is basically songwriters pitching songs. Our suggested price for that is $39.99. And then we have a limited release for an artist. I think it's up to 50,000 streams on like Spotify.
I think so.
And that's our standard license, and our suggested price for that is $99.99. And then the pro license, you get the stems, so it adds track customization, so you could take it into a studio and just totally make it your own. And it ups your streams to like 500,000 streams and some physical distribution. And our suggested price for that is $249.99. And then our Ultimate Plus, we take the track down from Jetracks. You have basically a master license in the sense of like you have unlimited usage of the track in all platforms, and the track is never licensed or sold again. And that's for our suggested price of $749.99. And so most of the producers actually use our suggested pricing. But some producers will do their own thing too, and we completely support that as well.
Dude, that's incredibly smart, man. I love that.
We're going to be talking a lot about tracks and beats. Like this whole conversation, I mean, the company is called Jetracks, so it's going to come up a lot. So I want to get into something, and I do want to repeat. I would like to at the end the 4 license types and how we can let's mention those again. But I want to go into, because we're going to talk a lot about this. This is a word that I think is very common in the songwriting community, but for some of our listeners who have never heard this term, it's called top-lining. It's a very important word, I think, is explaining this company. So can you guys explain what top-lining is and why it's so significant with beats and tracks?
Yeah, so top-lining is basically taking a pre-made instrumental track that has defined song sections. So it already has your intro, verse, chorus, bridge. It's all laid out, and it's just an instrumental track, and you put your own lyrics and melody to that track. And where this really got started was initially in the rap market, because rappers obviously need a beat to rap to. And so they went on the hunt for finding producers who were creating these instrumental beats. And likewise, the producers knew these rappers were looking for beats, so they started to create these instrumental beats in hopes that rappers would pick up their beats and release them. And so that kind of shifted into the pop market. So now in LA, they do a ton of top lining for pop. Ryland was telling me the other day that in Europe, top lining is huge. And now it's also made its way into Nashville with country market, with a lot of people doing top lining. Even if they don't start with a track, a lot of pro songwriters, and you guys probably know this, they'll have a track guy in the room to lay a beat so that they can write the song to it, and so top lining has become just whether it's purchasing a top lining track for your song or having a track guy in the room just lay a beat so that you can top line it. A lot of songwriting has moved to that kind of model. And I think some really cool songs are coming out of it. It changes the picture of songwriting a little bit, because it's not, sitting down with your intimate guitar or piano,
the Nashville way of
doing the
organic
Nashville
songwriting. Yeah.
And I still do a ton of that, but it is fun to have that beat sometimes, because it'll bring out some different phrasing, some different flavor in you. One thing I love to do is to get out of my genre a little bit. Like, if you pick up a guitar or piano and you just automatically go country all the time with your melodies and everything you put out is country, it's just you sing and it just sounds country. Try doing a pop top lining track and writing a melody over it. And I would bet that you would start to feel those pop melodies come out because you're getting out of that box. And I think top lining just expands your paradigm a little bit.
Agreed. And, to be quite honest, it's like, talk about the traditional Nashville way, right? We may be, as far as some people are concerned, here, at least here in Nashville, we might be talking about some radical ideas here that are,
Yeah, yeah.
they're a little outside the box, Nashville, right? But I think we'd be kidding ourselves. I know you and I feel this way, and I'm sure Steve's feel this way too, because I write with both of you guys very often. And how many times are we writing a song where, okay, we're starting with a progression? I know whenever I'm with Steve, whenever I'm with Joe, there's always a vibe set. Right? There's always some chord vibe, and it's like, oh, I got this melody. And then what do you think that is? Whether you have a track to begin with or it's an acoustic guitar, what are we doing? Mm-hmm. We're top lining, and what happens next? We start writing that lyric, right? Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what Jetracks is about, really. It's like, and I think the beauty of Jetracks, it's like, because I love writing a lyric to a predefined vibe, whether it's existent, but it's pretty convenient when it's already right there, fully produced, and you got a great producer shining a light on something that can be really cool. And to Joey's point, it's like, maybe if I want to get outside, even if I'm going to top line my own song, or like something that I'm creating in that moment, maybe I need to get away from some of these chord progressions that I keep going to over and over and over again. Like, how can I get out of this box? And it's like, as me and Joey were building the site, Joey started throwing up some of the preliminary tracks. I was like, dude, I want to write to this, man. I was like, dude, this is totally my thing, and this is what it's about, man. I'm like, I'm with a girl, I'm on a beach, and now I'm totally inspired, Yeah. My point being, I think we're top lining more often than we think we are, whether there's a track in the room or not. Yeah. And second of all, it's like, sometimes when you can just get outside of your own comfort zone, outside of your own box, I think something really cool can happen that you didn't expect,
No, that's so rad, dude. As you were talking right there, I was like, how stoked would you be if you're in high school right now and you get a chance to get some tracks right here and learn what it's like to play with professional musicians right out of the gate, dude, and really hone your craft from a young age and be like, okay, when I get in the studio with a professional band, this is how they're going to structure, and this is so it's already laid out there. So you have this fucking awesome template to hone your craft on for the younger crowds too.
No, it totally is. I think it's funny because when you guys were talking, I just keep thinking of how many stories I've heard from songwriters who've had success, and it's like the one song that they thought man, these 10 songs, I don't know why they're not number ones, but it's the one they went a little outside the box and it didn't sound anything maybe like them or like their artistry, and that was the one that did it. Yeah, I think so too, man. Like you guys were saying, we all get so used to our say melodies. I mean, I'm guilty of this when I'm writing by myself. I kind of go to, there's a lot of chords I like. There's a lot of progressions that I like. I think Kev said it too. He's like, oh man, is that Dizzy number 45? There's a song called Dizzy I wrote a long time with Kev. And a lot of my stuff comes out like that. It's just my style. My favorite thing is getting uncomfortable, getting outside that box and getting into a new style and exploring that. And do you guys think, I mean, honestly, that's great for any creator is to get outside your comfort
bomb
box.
Your boundaries.
Oh, you gotta bomb the boundaries. I mean, you gotta BYB. Word. If you're with me. BYB. Yes, of course. No, I really do love that, man. And I think that is the quick story. My first time I ever went to LA was a top lining session. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I brought my guitar like an idiot. And they're like, oh, you don't need that. It was uncomfortable. But then really, let's talk about it though. If you purchase a track on Jetracks, and you have this track that you've fallen in love with, well, you already know the mood it's going to take you in. You basically know the scenery. You can smell it, you can taste it, but now it's your job to tell the story. I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think for us as songwriters or as artists too, falling in love with the track can be a number one thing. That is so number one, because then now you can tell your story and not have to worry about like any, I guess it's not the fuss, but it's any of the stuff that comes in the beginning of like an organic songwriting session. It's already there. Now it's your job to do the one thing and to tell that story.
Yeah.
And having those feelings brought to you and presented to you before you even get down is such a powerful tool. It really is, I think, as creators.
Yeah, you can look at it like reverse engineering, right? Because normally you would hear the fully produced thing at the end of the road, at the end of the road, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you have part of the end of the road, and now you just got to write your way toward it, you know? So it's reverse engineering in a way, but in the sense that you have a feel for what the mood truly is, not what you think it might be. You know, how many things change from when you write a song? I think we've all been in bands and stuff, and it's like you record songs, and it's like sometimes it doesn't work at the end of the road. This time you know that it works.
Yeah.
You know, and you're writing the true, you know, thing of how this product ends, you know? And it's like, and I think another thing about top line, it's one other thing I wanted to mention when you were talking, Steve, you reminded me of something. It's like, there's also this thing with songwriting that sometimes I think we can't help but avoid, but like boiling the ocean, right? When there's like too many options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you have a blank sheet of paper, everything is a possibility, right?
Yeah.
And I think I've heard very intelligent songwriters, like heroes of mine, say very often, everybody always says the same thing, and it's like there's a freedom actually in limiting those options. When you're writing to a top lining track, you're actually limiting the scope of what's possible, but it gives you that freedom to go and live into that world instead of dabbling
So
in the
powerful.
ocean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, man. Those constraints are actually like those are good constraints. One of the few good constraints.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
There's not many. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, blank sheet can be a very dangerous world. Like, but you know, as writers, we're all writers here. Like, if someone gave you a blank sheet and said, "Okay, give me 10 minutes of your best stuff, just go write." But if you give me a topic, if you give me a feeling, if you give me something, then I can live in that world, and you're probably going to get better pen to that page, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just on that, saying the point we were talking about just a minute ago, you know, starting with the feel is also good because I've had so many writers come to me for demos, and they send me a fully produced demo that they paid to have done, and they say it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to turn out. You know, and so it's like, so now they're paying double because they didn't get the demo that they want.
Yes.
They wrote their song, but they can't get their song in the type of sound that they want it, you know, and that's a challenge, you know. So it's like with this, you start with your sound, you start with your vibe, you know, as Ryland said, you know, whenever he listens to this song Crush that's on our site, he's like, dude, I'm on a beach with a girl. And so it's just like you start with your vibe. Your
Does she have clothes on?
Your vibe's there.
Always.
Always.
Oh,
PG.
right.
Tops.
Yeah, you start with your vibe. You already got that part of it down, and then you just, you know, you add your vocals, and you already got the feel. So I think that's an important part. And I, you know, just because I've seen so many songwriters blow a ton of money just trying to get the vibe that they hear their song in, I know that's a much better way to do it. You know, even though it's writing backwards, you know, it's worth it. So.
No, that's 100%. And I think we've all been, I have been there where you were absolutely right, where you paid somebody to deliver something that you thought was going to go one way and you end up paying double.
Yep.
Another point to that too is, you know, you're right. Getting that track firsthand and falling in love with that track, you know, the track's already good. When you're pitching, let me ask you guys this, you know, when your pluggers are pitching or you're pitching a song to publishers or anybody, from my experience, I think the first seconds of that sound of that track is going to turn them on or it's going to turn them off. It is that quick. They might not even get a chance to fall in love with your song because they're already hearing that track. They're like, not good enough. The quality's not there. I'm not interested. This is too out there. But having that track that like just sounds good, the tracks that are available on Jetracks, like that is so important when you're trying to become a successful songwriter and trying to pitch these songs out to major label artists, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you can't be everything as a songwriter. Okay. I know we're talking a lot about songwriting here because it's, you know, where our lives kind of live in many cases, but also as an artist, it's like you can only be so many things. Like, what are you going to focus on? You know, they write books about this topic. It's like, how many things do you have the energy to be the best at?
Yeah.
Right. If you want to be the best songwriter in the world, you know, maybe you're not going to be also the best producer in the world that's going to catch the ear of somebody, of an A&R person who has numb ears, who has heard all the tricks, you know. And you know, from an artist standpoint, it's like you probably have time to spend in other areas than producing your own stuff. There are people, there's unicorns in the world that do many things. They do many things in a very, you know, in an unbelievable kind of fashion, but that's not everybody.
Right.
You know, that's definitely not most people. And it's like, I think it also, top lining also gives you that opportunity to do what you do best, you know, as an artist, as a songwriter, what have you. And even as a producer, you know, on the other side, that's the beauty of the multi-vendor marketplace, is like, we're bringing those worlds together and everybody gets to do what they do best.
That's awesome that it works from both sides, because, you know, I'm thinking, like, does a platform like this scare like home studio owners, or should they be excited about this? You know, I don't know the answer to that. I'm curious. Like, what do you guys think?
Yeah. Well, I think it's great because, you know, I am a producer myself, and for me, it excites me because I think there's a lot of producers who, you know, if you're a producer on any sort of higher level, you have done a ton of tracks, and a lot of times those tracks, they just sit, you know, and they're not doing anything, and you're thinking to yourself, I spent so much time on this, it's so good, you know, I would love to get this out in the world. And so for me, it's been really cool because I always encourage people to, like, if they use a track that I did, to send me the song, and so it's just been so rewarding to hear these songs back, because sometimes people will do things with them that I would have never thought anybody would ever do, you know, and it's totally out of the box. I would have never written it that way, but it's cool because it's out in the world, man. It's my music. It's out in the world. It's doing stuff, you know, and people are writing songs to it and enjoying it. So no, I think there's an aspect of, you know, I get some producers may be hesitant because there's different licenses and things like that, and they're like, well, that's, you know, my track should only be sold for, you know, the 749 or whatever. And actually, you can do that on Jetracks. You can choose which licenses you want to offer. So if you don't want to offer the basic, standard, or pro, you don't have to.
Oh, right on.
But anyways, but I think there's a lot of value in just letting people license your music in different ways. And, you know, some producers might scare them, but I think for us, most of the producers, not most, all the producers have been, you know, just been like, this is amazing. Yeah. You know, and
it's just an avenue
looking for an opportunity like this.
Yeah, for their own success. You know, it's like a lot of people, we've gotten a lot of feedback so far on, you know, especially from the guys that, you know, the guys and gals that have been, you know, successful on the website thus far. It's like, it's really rewarding for us to have these payouts, these people we've never even met. How cool. And, you know, it's part of this global marketplace, this internet world that we live in. It's an amazing thing, especially in this day and age, this specific day and age that we're living in, where nobody can go nowhere. But what we can do is a talented producer anywhere on the map can upload his work. Maybe he's not a songwriter and he just wants something to happen, like Joey was talking about. It's like, get this stuff out there, you know. Like, I don't know what to do with this. Maybe a songwriter knows what to do with this, you know. Yeah. And it's like these geniuses just hang out on Logic and Pro Tools, you know. And it's like, and then you have these other kinds of geniuses, you know, like showing up as songwriters that do have the time right now, you know, like they're in the house, they're not distracted, you know. And it's like, I think it's a cool thing for everybody. And I mean, if we want to talk about from a financial standpoint, right, it's like that's probably the only hang up. We kind of outline, we've tried to be as specific as humanly possible in our like terms and things like that, and within our licenses. as to what's okay and what's not okay, so I can understand, there could be those kinds of hangups, and hopefully we cleared all that up in our terms. But from a financial standpoint, it's like, I think you stand to really do so much better than you would have if you would have, like the example I gave earlier, where it's like you just hit up a producer across the street, like $1,500 for a demo, and it's like, I think there's even more opportunity globally. I think that's probably an understatement, right?
And you could put more music out there, I think I think financially it totally makes sense. Just to give you an example on, getting your music out there. I had this songwriter contact me, and he says, hey, I bought 10 of your tracks, and he goes, I just made it my COVID, hunker down project to write to all 10 of these tracks. And I'm like,
dude.
That's cool, man.
That's super cool.
That's the kind of stuff I want to hear,
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, so that's the kind of cool stuff. It's just cool to have all that music out there doing stuff.
That is very cool,
right, man. Yeah. And for all of you, even producers that are listening at home, or home studio producers, anybody, I mean, honestly, Joe, you hit on it, man. Like, a lot of us are sitting on tracks that just sit on the shelf and they get dusted up, and when they sit there too long, they go to die.
Yeah.
How about giving them a shot? And it was cool about you said, like, you heard some of these dusted up tracks that you put out there and heard some really cool, rewarding, outside the box experience with those. And that's got to be just an amazing feeling, man. So all that hard work, that time was now worth it. And that's great. And that's kind of that gift of giving back too.
Totally.
Man.
Right.
Yeah. Totally.
Let's go into this real quick, man, because I want to talk about Ryland and I were talking about this, but a little bit of timing. Like, we were talking about top lining. When you buy a beat off of, or a track off Jetracks, like, look, a songwriting session in Nashville is normally, I don't know, it can go anywhere. Hell, it could go 45 minutes, it could go 3 hours, it could go 8 hours, depending on who the hell you're with. With Jeffrey Steele, it goes 14 hours. And you better,
happy to.
Yeah, happy to.
Greatest of all time.
But I think when you have the track already preset, man, I mean, honestly, these sessions can tend to go faster. We all lived really busy lives, I think. And talk about that kind of value of, like, just the turnaround times and how fast it can be with actually having the track already made.
I'm sure Joey can shed even more light on this, but that I heard from a couple of our customers, that are frequent customers, some of them we know personally, and I see them all the time broadcasting on Facebook how quick it took to write a song that day. They're always like, oh my God, like I wrote a song in 45 minutes, or I wrote a song in an hour and a half, or whatever. And it's like over and over and over again. And it's like, I don't know if I would necessarily prescribe to that. I'm not saying there's any one way, or that top lining should necessarily trim the time down. However, I think what top lining helps you do is kind of like perfect the vibe. And what I mean by that is, you touched on it earlier, Steve. It's like when you fall in love with the track, the vibe is right.
Yeah.
So now it's like you get to spend all your time just making sure that the song is right. Because that's what we're providing. We're providing an opportunity to write the best song that you can possibly muster. Because you've fallen in love with this track. It's like, how many times we step in a room again with a blank slate? We don't know if we love the vibe yet.
Yeah,
but hopefully
we're halfway done with the song, and we don't even know if we like it yet.
Hopefully, because a lot of people are going to call it at 3 hours one way or the other. So hopefully at the end of 3 hours, we both love the song and love the vibe. And here it's like the vibe is taken care of.
This happened today. First 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes of the write. We didn't have a track. We just basically sat and looked at each other and looked at our phones and said, what do you want to write? And we just back and forth. Well, how about this? Well, I don't like that. Okay, well, how about this? Well, I don't like that. So it's like that whole time, is we're just staring at each other, know?
Yeah.
And but when you bring in a top lining track, what I notice is somebody will start to get a melody within, I play the track. Okay, they're like, oh, I dig that. And they're like, it could be kind of like this, but no. And all of a sudden you have a melody for your verse, and they're like, then the chorus could kind of go, and you get to that place way faster because that vibe, like you said, that vibe is in the room. I believe so much of songwriting is, I say this all the time, songwriting is like putting a bow around a feeling. And basically we sell feelings, like if you can capture the feeling of first love and sell that, then you have a gold mine, because everybody wants the feeling of first love. So if you can capture that in a song, then it's gold, And so you capture that feeling right from the beginning with your track. And then, you just throw your melody and lyrics on top. So, yes, it does go way faster, mainly because you cut out that whole time of, like, trying to figure out what you're going to do. It also speeds up the demo process, because I'll tell you that for a lot of top-lining tracks, if I have a vocalist in the room, I already got that top-lining track, queued up. I'll just have them jump on the mic at the end, lay the vocal, I'll tune and process that thing, and... You got a demo to pitch the next day. Yeah. Or
done
same
that,
day.
Man. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I definitely think it speeds up time.
Yeah, like time to market, as well as, there's like multiple elements of time here, right? There's time to market, and there's like time in the room.
Yeah.
Right. And I think top lining is it's hard to argue with it.
You can't beat it. You really can't, man. And where you can get those beats and tracks to top line is Jetracks.com. Y'all, I want to go over one thing real quick. I want to revisit this actually. So we kind of explained top lining and kind of the power of Jetracks, like what the clients are going to get and what they're really offered. Let's go over these 4 licensing types. Okay, we have the basic license, the standard license, the pro license, and the ultimate plus license. So we'll just go a little in depth. I'm a songwriter. I hear this song. I did this today. I mentioned this earlier. I went to the website. I fell in love with the song. I was telling you guys, I immediately started writing to it. I forget which one it was. I came up with a verse melody. I want that. I want to write to it. I want to pitch that. What license am I getting?
If you just want to pitch it, no release or anything, it would be the basic license.
Okay.
Which is the first one on there, and it's a great license for songwriters because the price is very low. So we kind of designed that for the purpose of being able to do a lot of songs. We know most of our songwriter friends, us included, write 150, 200 songs a year. And you want to be able to pitch a good majority of that. And so we wanted to create a license that's affordable for people who want to pitch a lot of songs. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is super affordable. I'm looking at the pricing right now. It's just super affordable. I mean, come on. And then let's go into the standard license. So we were going to upgrade a little bit. Yep. Talk to me about the standard license.
The standard license is for limited release. So there's no paid release. There's no paid like Spotify type releasing on the basic license. You can only do like SoundCloud and non-paid streaming. But the standard gets you into where you can release on paid platforms. And so it's 50,000 streams on the standard license. And so this is good for like new artists who are just putting out their stuff. They're not sure if they're going to get up into that 100,000 range, or singer-songwriters who just want to release their own stuff. The cool thing is, if you're an artist and you release it and you get past 50,000, you can always upgrade your license to a higher license that you need. And you think money-wise, it totally makes sense because, when you compare it to what you would make off of Spotify or something like that, it's a fair percentage of what you're paying for the track versus if you got those 50,000 streams, what you would make on Spotify.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then the next we have, we're going to the third tier, the pro license. Let's talk about the pro license. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So something I want to mention too, it's like, there's like file types involved here in these license types that, with that basic, you're getting strictly a high quality MP3 that's going to be plenty to lay your vocal on top of. Okay. Now that standard is we're going to add an additional, I believe it's I'm going to double check that. It's a 16-bit wave. We're going to add that as well as the MP3. So that's going to be included there. Now with the pro license, there's for the people that are interested in things like stems or an additional streaming limits and distribution limits and live performance. There's even some broadcast in here. Now with this pro license, you get the high quality MP3, the 16-bit wave, but also the 24-bit high res wave, and you're going to be up to 500,000 paid streams on that, and that includes all the digital service providers. And in the for like hip hop and pop, live performance usage is included in that, and even broadcast up to 3 stations for limited broadcast, and also includes a music video opportunity there. So this is good important for songwriters. Yeah, it's paid usage for performance for artists and singer songwriters, and along with that limited broadcast and airplay.
Nice. So that works. Like, let's say I got a track and like I only like parts of it and I want to use that as a backing track if I'm a performer. It covers that if I'm using that as a backing track live, right?
The pro license does cover
the pro.
that.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Plus, you get those stems. So for anybody who doesn't know, stems are all the individual tracks that make up the track. So your drum tracks, guitar tracks. So basically you could take those into a studio and you can, take out what you don't want. You can add what you want. Have it completely remixed. Basically, you can make it your own. Or you can use it as backing tracks for live performance. So,
very cool. And so do you guys have like a screening process? So if I'm a producer and I want to upload a track to your guys' site, are you guys primarily the two that are approving or denying?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's awesome. Very cool. Because I'm just thinking like
0 employees right now.
Right on.
We're 2 months old.
It's an oven market.
Oh yeah.
We just work our asses off, but basically you would. So there's no approval process to become a producer, but then you would start uploading, and every upload we take a listen to, and then approve or deny. And we haven't had to deny a lot, which is good.
Yeah.
So,
right on.
That's great.
That's
yeah,
good.
I mean, we've had some really great stuff.
A lot of talented
uploaded,
people out there.
Very cool, man. Yeah, because I'm just thinking like if I'm a producer listening to this and I'm stoked, I was like, dude, I want to make Jetracks my main source of income right now. It's like,
totally.
How would I do that? Yeah.
And we're also happy to give feedback too. And it's like if there was ever something to be desired from a just to keep our we want to provide quality content for everybody.
Yes.
And something that they're gonna that's gonna be viable for them. Also at this point, because it's Joey and I, we're happy we interact with our customers and our vendors all the time. So I don't think there's any reason why any producer out there who's got a dream and got the hunger, like we can definitely
I want to help with that.
kind of feed that, like bring that forward.
Right on. Super cool, man. I love it.
Absolutely. This one I want to spend just a little time and talk to you guys about with, yes, it is the most expensive of the licensing, but I think it's the most important. Kevin and I have had guests on the show. We've talked a lot about how songwriters, instead of maybe reaching for Billboard success, can make really great careers from film and TV and sync. You're given an opportunity right here on Jetracks. This is your the Ultimate Plus license. Again, if you are serious about trying to get your songs on TV and film, this is probably, I would think, the one for you. So let's go into the Ultimate Plus license. Why is it so important?
Yeah, so the Ultimate Plus, you get the MP3, you get the 16-bit wave, you get that 24-bit wave, but you also get the stems, similar to the Pro license, except for the fact that there's a buyout process. So this track is removed from Jetracks as soon as the purchase takes place, and you're immediately the last person to ever touch this. To Steve's point, okay, well, before we get there, it's as far as streaming and distribution and live performance, broadcast, music video, all that stuff that we talked about earlier, that stuff, all those caps are immediately removed.
Okay.
So now it's unlimited across the board. Now, Steve, you're talking about film and TV, and this is the license for that. And it's like you get all of the benefits of owning the master. It is a license. It is still a license. But you have free usage. We can't necessarily control what anybody else, wants to do as far as how they run their own business, as far as like a media company or a music supervisor. However, we're giving you freedom to use that track as if you own the master. So you don't own the master per se, but the producer has, by providing that license, that Ultimate Plus license, you have freedom to use that track in any way that you want to use it.
So you can pitch this to a music supervisor.
Yeah, and you're free to make money from sync at any capacity.
Get it in a commercial.
There's no back end royalties that would ever be owed for anything you would use this track for.
Okay.
The reason we don't do master ownership really comes down to a legal thing, because if a track is licensed to another person, like let's say that that 3 songwriters have licensed this under the basic license, right? If we give somebody else master ownership, then they can go to those people who have a license and say, you can't use my music
anymore.
Gotcha.
And so because things are licensed multiple and could be licensed to multiple people, it makes true master ownership not a possibility. And so that's why we do a master license. A master license is actually really common. Big like Sony and those types of people, they will give people master license to use their music, even though they own the copyright for what they do. So this is not an uncommon practice at all. But we do it just to make sure that the songwriters or the artists who have already bought a license for this and have their music out there, that they're safe. We want to make sure that it stays legal that way. And so that's why we've opted to not say that it's true master ownership. But the master license and the fact that the track will never be licensed again basically gives you all the benefits of owning a master. And you're free to make as much money off of that as you want.
At least the benefits that you would care about, right? And it's like, again, it's like what we're talking about is kind of an edge case, but we just wanted to make sure, from moral standpoint that that we covered that, and that was something that we've been over
we've been back and forth on that about
many
10,000 times. So
many times.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
sure.
I think we've struck a balance that I think is going to work for everybody. Again, we tried to provide something for everybody, and I think that's probably the best way to handle it.
Yeah, and I will just say since you were talking about sync placements, we have had several people get sync placements with the tracks.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And they'll get taken by publishers and all these different things. So, so it depends. Some music supervisors will say, well, I'm not going to touch this track unless it's complete master ownership.
Right.
But it's happening, and people are getting great placements with the master license, because master license is actually a pretty common thing.
Yep.
And
Totally.
a music supervisor who knows truly what a master license is, they're going to be like, okay, well, that you can use the track. So
Yeah, I think especially with like COVID and the amount of Netflix shows and the amount of Amazon Prime shows, Hulu shows that are coming out, all these shows, we've said this before on the podcast, need music. And so it is, and you're right, these music supervisors, this is nothing new to them. The mastering, if they know what they're doing and have dealt with this before, this is not rocket science for them.
Right.
They understand the process of all of this. But yeah, I think it is important to our listeners, if you want to go down that road of film and TV and sync, I think the Ultimate Pro license, or the Ultimate, Plus. The Ultimate Plus is the way to go. And for the price, guys, it's amazing. I think what you guys are offering is incredible. I think you're bringing people from all, not just the United States, but all over the world to be able to connect with amazing producers, amazing artists, singer-songwriters that it's just an amazing feat, I think, to be able to do that, especially this time. Some of us have a lot of downtime. If you have an inkling of doing music or wanting to try it and can't play a guitar or don't know how to sing, you're a lyricist or whatever, Jetracks is probably the way to go. This will get you a great start and give you a collaborative process with people who have the same vision and dream as you. Yeah.
Yeah, and just on that note, as far as lyricists go, we have a ton of lyricists that use the tracks, and it's really cool because I think everybody can sing to some degree, but they think they can't sing. So, but they're what they'll do is they'll take their song or they'll take the track, and then they'll kind of rap the lyrics. You wrap them out on the verse, you know, kind of the rhythm, and same with the chorus. So they write out their entire song as kind of a rap, and then they'll find a melody person to come in and basically take those syllables because they know all their phrasing and syllables are correct because it fits with the music, and they'll basically just have them come in and put those notes in the right place. And then, they'll create songs that way. And so for lyricists, it's been, I think, a super helpful tool for them. Yeah.
Blown away by how well thought out this is, man. It's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great product.
We didn't sleep for a while.
Yeah, we didn't sleep for a long time.
Yeah, I think.
It's worth
this
it.
is the
result
of a lot of not sleeping.
I was talking to you. I think while this was going on.
I know. Yeah.
I was like, "Who am I talking to right now?" This guy don't sleep.
Delirious, man.
Yeah.
Lots
of good times.
Lots
Never
of
forget
4Ms. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the dedication it takes, though, right?
It does.
That's the entrepreneurial mindset.
And it was worth it.
It was, man. It was cool. It was super rewarding, And it's like, again, I don't think we could have done it without each other because you get to that. It's kind of like. Again, going back to the partnership, the marriage thing, it's like when one person's like dying, the other one's like holding the other one up. It's like, oh, come on, we just only got like 2 more miles to go, man.
Yeah. You need to know your partner's strengths, weaknesses, and know when to hold them, know when to fold them, man.
Yeah.
You really do. You really do.
Yeah, and he's a Tony Robbins guy, and I'm a Tim Ferriss guy. So we throw
great combo.
We throw each other quotes all the time. Like, well, Tony Robbins says this. Well,
exactly.
Tim Ferriss says this. So,
but
it keeps us going.
It's kind of the same thing. You're Tony Robbins. I'm currently still reading this Tim Ferriss. I think we even talked about that. Where you're like, oh, you're much like Joey, and I get that. I get that for sure.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome, man. Mm-hmm. How I'm just curious, like how just from like an outbound sales perspective, like how are you sourcing business from an outbound sense of approach, or are you basically just relying on producers like coming to you? Or so in other words, like are you targeting specific producers in specific markets that would be good for this, and like calling them, emailing them, pitching them on this, or is a lot of your business so far just come to you through?
Yeah, most of what we've done so far has been grassroots. So yeah, we do reach out to producers. We do reach out to songwriters too. We're just trying to spread the word. And what's really cool is once people latch onto it, they want to spread the word, and producers want to say, hey, check out my tracks on Jetracks, which is really cool. I will say right now we could use more hip hop. We don't have a lot of tracks in our reggae.
I want the reggae.
Good to know. Good to know.
And also Latin. I don't know if there's any Latin producers out there, but we could really use some Latin tracks.
Absolutely.
That's a huge market.
Use some flavor, some spice.
We need it. We have a lot of country, but we're always open for it. If you got tracks, we have a genre for it.
Yeah.
So
and if we don't, we'll add it.
Yeah, we'll add it. Exactly.
Have you guys launched any Facebook ad campaigns for it, or have you even delved into that realm of
We've started to, and again, we've started reaching out, kind of trying to be creative about that as far as attracting producers, but also top liners and people already interested in this market. We also had a community. We were blessed to have a community around us to begin with. Again, Joey was doing this on his own for a while, so that's kind of helped spread the word.
Right on. No, that's awesome. That's the best way, obviously.
And a lot of the members of that community were not concentrated in the same place. Yeah. So it's been kind of cool to watch, because I'm a tech guy, so obviously I'm going to watch the track. I have some tools on the back end where I get to kind of see where we get to see where the traffic's coming from. Yeah. And it's very cool to see it from all over the world. It's literally from all across the dang planet, Yeah. And But yeah, that's kind of the gear that we're in now. We're in kind of, now that we're out of development mode, now we're into marketing mode. We've like,
Yep.
we want the website to live and breathe on its own, like it's a human being.
Yep.
Now we've sent it off to college,
Mhm.
and now like
Give
we
it
can
a
figure
kiss
out how to
goodbye.
fund it.
Yeah.
You know, just
Yeah.
like a college kid. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Love it, dude. That was a great answer, man. Thank you.
Well, boys, I think we may be at that moment.
Oh man,
We've
this
gone
was
over,
fun.
and this is fun. We've gone over the
guys
time
are
limit.
fun.
Didn't even mind it. Didn't mind it. If you guys didn't.
I did not.
So I think, Kev, any last words, man? Did you have any other questions for our guest today?
I did not, man. All those were great answers, man. I'm just like, I mean, I could probably go down the rabbit hole, man. I'm just so
Oh,
curious
sure.
on a ton of different details, but no, man, for the overall view, that was awesome. And like I said, man, well done. Very impressed and super
Thank you,
cool.
man. And
Yeah.
anybody, I mean, that brings up a good point. Like anybody, feel free to reach out to us. Like if you go to jetracks.com, you can contact us in any way. We read emails all day.
Perfect, man.
And we have a new chat mechanism, so you can hit us up and we'll literally respond to you.
Yeah, and you can email
Very
us at info@jetracks.com, and one of us will get back. We look at that all day. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for having us.
Absolutely.
Really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
this.
Thank
This was
you
fun.
guys.
Yeah, I really appreciate
This
it.
is
guys.
a blessing.
Man,
Appreciate
I'm
it.
telling you, like I said, and our listeners need to know this, man. I went to it today, got lost into a song, and I was about halfway through writing it in 30 seconds. It was just,
Exactly.
it's that powerful of a tool. So all of you songwriters, producers, artists, music creators that do listen to us, please check out jetracks.com. It'll be worth your time. Y'all, that is going to wrap it up for today. As always, we thank you for tuning into the BombCast. Y'all, if you like what you heard, maybe gained knowledge or learned anything new today that may help you through your creative or personal journey, please rate and review this episode. Y'all, it helps out a lot. We love what we do, and what we do is for the YOU. So we appreciate that love. Shop with us and stay updated on all of our apparel, new releases, and our blog by visiting bombersandsleeves.com. We are always most active on our Instagram, so follow us at Bombers and Sleeves and follow this BombCast at BombCast_official. We want to thank both of our special guests again tonight, Mr. Joey Ebach and Mr. Ryland Fisher. Thank you guys so much for being here. Find your sound and search for tracks and beats from today's hottest producers and sell your tracks and beats at jetracks.com. That is jetracks.com. Follow them on Instagram at jetracks.dot.com. Y'all be good and stay safe out there. Thank you again to our guest. And until next time, bomb your boundaries, baby.